Hello, welcome to the JordanSellsCincy YouTube channel. My name is Jordan Miller from ERA Real Solutions Realty in Cincinnati, Ohio. Today, we're going to be talking about the value of a home inspection and good overall maintenance home tips for your home. Today, we have the founder from Good Eye Home Inspections, Todd Engle. Todd, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Jordan. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And so, Todd, so just people get a better idea about you. How long have you been in the inspecting business and what got you into this field?
Well, overall in real estate, I've been in the business for 22 years as a mortgage loan officer, and then the last 9 years inspecting houses. I got into this field because I had started a prior company many years ago in 2006, and my business partner and I were flipping houses, and our first deal went south. We didn't do
Oh,
it well. So I wanted to be proactive and figure out what the home inspectors are looking for. So I went to home inspection school, and the next 20 deals we did, they worked out really well. No issues regarding the inspections. Just a proactive approach,
sure.
do it right, and figure it out, and it just turned into a career.
Gotcha. So yeah, that's a big jump from being a lender then into an inspecting field. So
Yeah.
kudos to you to kind of have more knowledge to share with clientele overall.
Yes. Maybe when I get close to retirement, I'll be a realtor.
Just go full circle, huh?
Yeah.
So Todd, before we kind of get to the questions of home buyers and sellers, and then going into maintenance tips, one thing I didn't mention that we both make content of our own to share with our clientele and for people to watch and see. And one of my favorite things about your videos is that you do some form of inspection, like whatever you're looking at. It could be a water heater, it could be a roof, and then at the very end of it, you say, "Get a home inspection," and then you
Bam.
yell, "Exactly!" I want to know, where did that come from, and how did that get there?
I know I really don't know where. I don't really know where I got that from. It's just out of the blue one day. And, running into stuff and certain things, it just makes you say, bam. Like, okay. Um, and sometimes when I'm doing those videos, if the seller's present or if it's early in the morning and I'm on a roof and an old lady's walking by, I'm not going to scream it. So I'll go bam, bam. It just turned into something funny. I know my mother doesn't like it, but 99% of the people do.
Right. And I was just the first time I saw your content was it was one of those, it was on a roof, and I'm just the guy in the morning walking by like, "Hey, what's that guy doing on the roof?" And I hear, "Get a home inspection." Bam. And so yeah, I cannot stop thinking about seeing those videos. They're great. They're
Cool.
great.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So kind of so going into it, what for a buyer when they're getting a home inspection, the first thing before they even do an inspection, they're going to look at the house first. They're going to see the home with their agent, just preview it. What is something or things you tell buyers or clientele that they should be looking for on the first showing?
So when they get up to the house, look at the curb appeal. Number one, when I pull up to the house or any of my inspectors, we know what kind of day we're going to have when we just pull up to the house. Just by the overall look, whether it's taken care of landscaping wise, whether they have loose or hanging shutters, peeling paint immediately, stuff like that. But what a buyer needs to look at is not the color of the walls on the inside of the house. That's
Gotcha.
like the number one thing. Oh, look at the color. You can paint.
Right.
You need to look at some of the bigger pictures. What does the roof look like? Is it discolored? Got a lot of fungal growth on it? Don't worry about the kitchen and how you're going to entertain people. Go to the basement. Most of our inspections is on the outside or the basement. That's where most of our time is spent. So look for large cracks in the foundation. Smells. Everybody has a good nose. Go down and does the furnace or the AC unit or water heater look like it's 100 years old? Does it look like it's well taken care of? Is there rust on the outside? Look at those bigger picture items and do not rely on the seller disclosure as anything that is trustworthy in regards to the condition of the property. In my opinion, seller disclosures are a joke, but look at them anyway because the seller might be doing the right thing and covering their backside and putting in their notes about structural repairs or a roof leak or whatever, or a sump pump failure. That's the number one thing we hear every week is a sump pump failed. So, but basically anything that sticks out like a sore thumb when you're going in through the house. Um, one of the most important training tools that we have is a sample, tons of sample inspection reports that are on our company profile. You can Google Good Eye Home Inspection sample reports. They're out there. Take a look at those thoroughly and that will give you a great idea of what to look for when you're shopping for a house.
And that's great to have those to for a buyer to kind of look at beforehand, and then kind of it gives them an expectations of what they should be, like you said, looking for. The same thing with smells or anything that looks just
Mhm.
off of the property. Those are just great tips overall for anyone, whether it's buying a home or potentially previewing it. So those
Yeah.
are
And,
great.
and another thing, just because you think you're moving into a good area of your dreams, go buy the house in the morning, the afternoon, and late at night. Get a feel for the area. What's it like late at night? What's it like early in the morning? That's a really good way to find out whether you're moving into a house that's got a lot of loud neighbors at night or something else going on.
Inspectors yelling "bam" out loud. Got to pay attention to those
Yeah.
too. But those are great. And so, moving forward, let's say they love the home, inspect it, it was great. And now when they move forward to after closing, what do you suggest for that buyer then to like keep like good home maintenance overall with their home?
Good questions. Number one, they should refer to the home inspection report. Don't just bury that report and forget about it. You need to look at all the items that were pointed out that were major and maintenance items. Now, in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of sellers saying take it or leave it, so no repairs have been done, and they can get forgotten. They're forgotten. So basically, go back to your home inspection report, look at all the major items that need to be addressed immediately, and then there are maintenance items that we include in our report too. And maintenance items are in our reports just a little blue wrench that says, hey, welcome to home ownership. You've got some things to do. It's not something you're going to ask the seller to fix. So they're very easy projects. You should be able to tackle them yourself. And so also in our home inspection reports, there's 2 free books, one on safety and then one on home maintenance, how to take care of the home. We provide those 2 books with every single home inspection report. So basically just look at your old home inspection report before you paint a room, buy a rug, or hang some curtains, and take care of those projects first, because that will protect your investment.
Got it. And to kind of to leeway into that, I have sellers too that'll come to me and say, well, Jordan, I don't want to get an inspection before listing it. I'll just have the buyer inspect it. Do you think that sellers should have their property inspected before putting on the market?
Absolutely, 100%. And that, like I talked about at the beginning when we were flipping houses, we didn't get inspections on our houses beforehand. Then, after I learned what needed to be done and what the home inspectors look for, we took a proactive approach. That's what it is. I know a lot of realtors out there don't like that because you're like, oh, you got to disclose. Guess what? The number one thing in lawsuits in real estate is the buyer coming after the seller for undisclosed items, or they move in and Joe, the neighbor across the street, says, oh, yeah, they tell you about how their basement leaks all the time. Ding, ding, ding.
Right.
So, getting a pre-listing inspection on your property before you sell is the smartest thing anybody can do in real estate. In fact, it should be how real estate is done. Every single home should be inspected before it's sold. Here's a couple reasons why. Number one, again, protecting yourself as a seller. You've been proactive, you've done the right thing, and if the buyer does ever try to take you to court, it's in your favor. You
Right.
disclosed everything, hopefully 0 issues. You get them fixed. The buyer now knows that, oh, they're inspected, they've disclosed everything, here's receipts on repairs. Sometimes they'll skip the inspection or get another inspection, which is their prerogative. They can get another inspection. When it boils down to it, and a lot of stories that I have heard from my sellers, when they get that pre-inspection, they fix everything that's wrong. When it comes down to the witching hour and negotiations start to happen, they're not stuck against the wall where the buyer says, I want $5,000 or $10,000 off based off my inspection. No, here
Right.
you go. I fixed everything. The home is in really good condition. 99.9% of the time when we do a pre-listing inspection, it goes by very smooth. The seller does not have to discount their price, 5 or 10 grand. Negotiations move quicker. Realtors make more money. The seller makes more money.
Right.
It's a no-brainer.
Right. And I think that also goes hand too with once they're kind of inspecting their home, a lot of times, or every time it should be, buyers want to know, how old are your roof,
Mm-hmm.
your kitchen appliances, HVAC, things like that. And so I think that it would be good to go over with people who are looking to buy, what should be their expectations of like how old, if I have a oven that's 6 years old, is that too old? Is it the right range? Should I save up? So I kind of want to just go over quickly just over the appliances slash what's called big ticket items of things that you have to worry about in the future. So for instance, let's start with like kitchen appliances. What are the typical ages that you see when you need to replace for a new one?
10 years.
Yeah.
Dishwasher, unlike me with two small children, we run the dishwasher 2 or 3 times a day. Dishwashers can be 10 years or less. Stoves a little bit older, microwaves and refrigerators nowadays, if they're built in the last 10 years, then you probably got about a 10-year shelf life. In every one of our reports, we have a link to a life expectancy chart on every single item of the home. But basic knowledge on furnaces, 15 to 20 years, and water heaters, 10 years, and on your air conditioner, heat pump, 10 years.
Got it.
That's a general golden rule. You're going to basically every 10 years, you're going to have to be replacing stuff. Now, if you get your HVAC, your furnace and your cooling unit tuned up and serviced every year, statistics show that it does extend the life of your units. So that 15 or 20-year unit can go 25 or 30 possibly. Your AC unit could possibly hit 15 or 20 years. You got to get it taken care of. And those professional licensed HVAC companies come out, tune, clean up, service, lube all the components, make sure it's running well. And they catch an issue in April, May, before your AC dies the first time you turn it on, and in the winter before you turn on your furnace. I see it all the time. People posting, my furnace went out, my furnace went. When we do an inspection on a property, we're pointing out the ages of the HVAC unit. We can give you an estimate on the roof, unless we know here's a receipt of when it was installed.
Right.
We can give you a good idea on the age and the life expectancy of the roof. But if we can read the serial numbers on the HVAC units, the water heater, we're going to give you a for sure age on that unit. And again, maintenance. Have your HVAC tuned up, cleaned, and serviced yearly. You should be draining your water heater yearly to get out all the sediment. That is a very easy thing to do. That's something you can do yourself. Don't try to do the HVAC yourself. Hire a professional on that.
Right.
But one thing that we partner with is Apollo Home Services. And for $200 a year, they will come out twice a year, service and tune up your cooling unit and your furnace, and give you a free electrical and plumbing inspection as part of that service.
That's great.
So they may catch some things that you may not see and help you in that process.
Got it.
But every 3 to 5 years, you should have us come out and do a maintenance inspection. I love those, because we've got people that have been in the house 5 or 10 years. They turn their eye, they miss stuff. We may be able to catch mold in the attic, fungal growth in the attic, or some foundation crack or termites or something. And if it's caught now, then it's going to protect your investment. So
Right.
I call those maintenance inspections. Preventative maintenance. Every hotel in the world has a maintenance department, and it's called a PM department, preventative maintenance, because they want to protect their multi-million-dollar investment.
Absolutely, because that's key. If you want to protect that investment, you want to make sure it's well taken care of. You're staying upkeep with everything, and because if you don't, it's like you said, it's just going to drop, and it could be an issue. You have to call out, whether it's calling another professional that needs to get that work done. That's huge to make sure you're staying up to date and upkeep with everything that you have for your property.
I tell you this: you go to the dentist, right?
Right.
We get our tires changed or rotated. We get our oil changed. We go to the doctor for yearly checkup. Why don't we do that with our houses?
Right. And that makes, and so kind of leading way into that, we've talked a little bit about, like you talked about water heaters, HVACs, as of upkeep. Is there anything in particular, like when you're inspecting a property and you see like common issues, do you see anything regarding like with electrical, water, roof? Like, is there anything in those areas do you see a lot of issues with?
Gutters are always full in the fall. Yes, on the HVAC, back to that. We point out in our reports that there's no signs of any previous preventative maintenance, like labels and stickers on furnaces or HVAC. A good HVAC company, 99% of the time, is going to put their sticker on that furnace and say it was tuned up, preventative maintenance, replaced, whatever. They're going to put some kind of notation there. So if the seller's been in the house for 20 years and the last time I saw a sticker on the furnace from 1999, Okay, it probably hasn't been serviced. Just because the record's not on there doesn't mean it is not, but chances are it probably hasn't been tuned up, cleaned, and serviced. And when we open up the panel to the furnace, we're going to tell whether it's been cleaned, tuned up, serviced, there's a rust, a leak, corrosion. On electrical panels, if the house is over 20 years old, there's always something wrong on the inside of the electrical panel. Home inspectors are not required by the standards of practice to open up electrical panels, but we do, as long as it's not painted shut to the wall
Right.
or not accessible. But there's usually always a problem inside the electrical panel. But back to your question there on maintenance, like October, at the day after Halloween, we're not watering flowers. That's when everybody should take their hoses off the hose bins outside, shut it off on the inside, and then drain it if you have a shut off on the inside, and then cover it up with an insulation cover. The last 2 weeks of weather, that's all that's on the news is busted pipes.
Right.
My home is built to where all the pipes are on the inside of the property, not on the outside walls. So if you have pipes on the outside of the walls, they should be insulated. Check for drafts at windows and doors. Your weather stripping goes bad every few years. There's many, many, many maintenance items you can do, but the hose bibs for frozen pipes are number one. Cleaning out your gutters, and making sure you have diverters at the bottom of your downspouts to get that water 6 feet away from the foundation is a big one.
Yes, I've seen that's definitely a lot more in properties these days. It's crazy. It's not a whole lot, and it's the process not much, but it can save you thousands if you don't do that process for your foundation and your home.
Clean your windows inside and out. And then when you lift up the window, the bottom sill part there, clean that out. Lots of mud, dirt, debris, growing algae. That
Right.
water can back up and leak into your house.
So transitioning, like you talked about before with the snow, we had the largest like snowstorm here with 3 inches. For winter maintenance tips, Todd, what is there anything else you would suggest with this winter season compared to like you want to do it in the spring or summertime?
Clean your gutters. Usually some people in certain neighborhoods have to clean their gutters twice a year. It's so important to have that water running freely. Because if you don't, and I posted something last week with that house that had the leaves all over the roof,
Mm-hmm.
snow and ice is just going to back up underneath your shingles. Then when it hits your gutters, it's going to back up again. So cleaning your gutters would be number one. And I think we already talked about the hose bibs.
Yep.
And then refer back to our maintenance guidelines in our home inspection report. And if you see your neighbor doing something, go ahead and be one of the Joneses. Pressure washing the driveway, sidewalks, sealing up gaps and cracks around your house. One big important thing, after a heavy windstorm, go outside with a pair of binoculars and walk around your house and stare at your roof. Look for missing or torn shingles or anything that's abstract, and then contact me. I've got a great list of roofers and contact people in the city that can get you well taken care of on repairs.
Yeah, that's great. That's great advice. I've seen that before, especially in the past where it was a showing before where there was no shingles or anything like that, no issue. But then just a couple days after, the agent actually reached out to us to say that some of the shingles did fall off. They're having someone getting that taken care of before I can offer. So that's a great tip overall.
Yeah, and then peek in your attic. I know that there's been nobody looks in their attic.
Right.
Get a ladder, peek in your attic, especially if you have overhanging trees that overhang your roof. Plenty of pests and animals, raccoons and stuff, squirrels will find a way to get into your property.
Right. So Todd,
And then
cut
cut the limbs back at least 6 to 10 feet. There are a lot of insurance companies now that are wanting to know whether there are overhanging trees. They'll either go out to the property or look at a home inspection report. They don't like that because a heavy windstorm will cause that to gorge your roof, break off, snap, land, damage a shingle.
Right. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. So Todd, just before we're just wrapping up here, is there anything else from either inspecting side or home maintenance tips that we didn't cover that just to hit on real quick?
Not that I can think of, other than get your home inspected every 3 to 5 years. You don't have to be selling your house. And don't be that seller that is stuck against the wall once a home inspector, a good one, comes in and tears your house apart.
Right.
because you didn't take care of it, and then you have to lose $5,000 or $10,000, for under a $500 investment. And we've not raised our prices because of COVID.
Right.
Just have us out. It's the best $500 you will ever spend.
Right. And Todd, if someone is looking to get their home inspected, they want to have, maybe there's a more conversation like to have that we didn't cover. What's the best way for people to reach out to you?
You can always call my number 24/7. We have a 24/7 answering service. So if you're drunk going through Taco Bell at 3 a.m., you want to book an inspection, you can do it.
Perfect.
Just call us at 859-630-4659. There's 5 of us. We're all licensed in Ohio, and we can go all the way up to Dayton, over to Sailor Park, over to Hillsboro, to downtown.
Perfect. And we'll put those 2 in the notes as well, for anyone who likes to reach out. Todd, this was great. It'll be great value for my clientele, for other people who've never even thought about even buying a home, just getting a little more knowledge on the inspection part, especially transitioning from this previous market where some people were avoiding inspections, which I always thought that is a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. Whether you're an agent, your inspector, lender, anyone who tells you that's just a bad idea. So this was great info overall.
I got a story to end with that.
Okay.
So in my many years of real estate, I never thought I'd see people waiving inspections, which, excuse my French, dumbest thing in the world.
Right.
We had a lot of inspections that we picked up after that, and people had already moved into the house. One person, for instance, had overspent $50,000 on the house. We went out and uncovered $50,000 in repairs needed.
Wow.
Structural, termites, entire roof replacement, fungal growth in the attic, a collapsed sewer line, over $50,000 in repairs. I've stayed in touch with this person to help them with contractors. That's how I know these numbers. You're 100 grand upside down now.
Right.
Don't ever waive an inspection.
That's a great lesson for anyone who, if they're ever thinking about that, even the possibility of doing it, that should be a lesson learned for anyone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's bad. Well, Todd, this was great. Thank you again. This is great info overall. And again, we'll put your phone number down there, as well as your website information for anyone who'd like to reach out and learn more about you, sir.
Cool. Thank you, Jordan. Have an awesome day and Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too.